suffered from depression from around the age of 21, and I don't really have many memories with her. She passed away when I was 4, and my dad has never remarried, and so for most of my life it's pretty much just been the two of us. In 2008, he met a wonderful lady. She had lost her husband and she had a daughter, and yeah, things moved fast and they were soon engaged, and we moved up to Joburg to be with them. We lived in a beautiful little house, and yeah, it was just a wonderful way for us all to rebuild our idea of a family. I was going into my teen years and God had given me a mom, and it was the first time that I really knew what it meant to have a mom, and it was the first time that I realized how important it was for me to have a mom. And I really loved and cherished simple little things like being able to sit with her before going to bed and we would just chat, or like finding treats in my lunchbox, or having her plait my hair before school, and yeah, just little things that were very special to me. And a few years later, our little family was broken apart by finance, and obviously not knowing God and His provision, we kind of thought that the only way forward was to move on, for now at least. And so my dad and I moved back to Durban, and we kept in touch for a while, but a few months later we hardly spoke at all. And at the time I didn't know God, but I knew there was supposed to be a God, and so I prayed and I asked that our family would stay together, and it didn't, and it didn't help my idea of God at all. And I was angry, partly because my dad was upset. He didn't have a job. We struggled a lot with money. We weren't in our own home. We hardly spent any quality time together, and it got to a point where I thought I was going to lose my dad as well. I was also angry because I started struggling with the idea of a family and having a mom. Little things that never bothered me before became big things, and it would be stupid things like standing in a line at a shopping mall and seeing a mom with her child, and it would hurt. And yeah, I just felt like my life had become very stale, and all I could focus on was what I didn't have and what I'd lost. And I joined SCA in my first year of grade 8 at Westfall Girls, and my first year there didn't really mean much to me. Real change only came in my second year of being there, when I met Miss Walker, and there was just such a realness about God in her, and without her even having to say anything, I knew that there was so much more to God than what I thought, and I knew that if I was going to be at SCA, it had to be for the right reasons. And so I started searching, and I started finding, and to sound as cliche as possible, my life got so much better. I needed a change, and a change was coming. I found it a lot easier to accept what I had and the way God had planned my life out and how He was going to use me. I started noticing God's provision in my life. I started praying for my dad to get a job, and he's had one ever since. I prayed that we would get in touch with Heather again, and we speak almost every week. I prayed that I would find God bigger, and God put me in a youth. I prayed that my friends at school would find God bigger, and I was kicked out of a group at school, and I made new friends, and almost a year later, half of them were baptized. And yeah, God just started revealing Himself to me, and I think my life has been a real testimony of how God provides for His children, and God knows the desires of His children's heart. And God has blessed me with not only the most incredible woman, but the most incredible woman of God, someone that I look up to like a mom, and although very young, has taken that very important role in my life. And yeah, I love her with all my heart, and I aspire to be like her. She's a wonderful example. And some words that have stayed with me over the past few years are that there are very few people who can truly understand you, and even fewer people who can truly carry you in your vulnerable moments. But Jesus can, and He knows how, and He knows when. And God wants to give His children the desires of their heart, and God wants to give His children fresh new life. And I know that God has given me the desires of my heart and so much more, and God has given me fresh new life.